Yeah, the meeting's being recorded. I hope that's okay. It just means it's kind of useful. So yeah. Yeah, welcome. And I'm Laura Bradshaw, and I'm just going to, and thank you, Mujib Oloye, for coming in, and he's going to be talking a little bit later on through the talk about his insight into Oasis One World Choir, what he's doing with the project, and things like that. So I'm not used to doing this kind of thing, so it's all been a bit of a, so bear with me if I sort of faff between sharing the presentation and talking, because I hope not to just share the PowerPoint all the time, because I think that would be really boring. So I'm going to try and share it now. And our project is Oasis One World Choir. We're celebrating 10 years this year, so we're putting some thought soon into how we're going to do that, which we can't quite believe we've been together for 10 years. But so some of what I'll be sharing is some of the deep history that's gone into how we think this project has formed, or how, from my perspective, and then obviously from Oloye's as well. So I'm going to share the PowerPoint, and I've just before I do, I realize I'm not on the right page. Bear with me a minute, sorry everybody. Okay. No. And everybody see that? So now I need to go home and slideshow. There we go. Perfect. So this is the presentation in a nutshell. Oh, it's called Teams Across the Ocean. That will hopefully become apparent later. So it feels like that we are teams across the oceans, and we come together quite a lot as well. And we've got one of our team members across the ocean with us today on Zoom, which is lovely, Adanette. There we are. I'm going to rush through them. I'm not expecting people to read everything on the slides. They're sort of my prompts as well. And if anyone would like to see the slideshow later, I can email it to you. So we are a creative wellbeing project aimed at people who have been displaced from their home countries. We also do performances, both community and more high profile as well. So we have added singing walks to our project, walks led by the choir members, and people are training up to be singing mamas, which is, both of those things are quite groundbreaking. I think we feel really proud that they're happening, because they're about well-being and the arts and well-being and the singing well-being. Last year we did, can't quite believe this, 80 events, and that I wasn't at all of them, but I was at most of them. I think Tracy was at all of them, and we'll be celebrating 10 years. So I thought I'd put a bit of this in because it shows how I formed. So I started, I was from a family where singing was really, not elite singing at all. We thought mum and dad were rock stars, but they were just bog standard people singing round 3 chords in their living room and inviting all the kids from the street to sing and dance and have fun and everything. I was educated in Manchester. I had free music lessons. Everybody did. Things have changed a lot, I think. I haven't pressed OK for recording. Then, because of my free lessons, I went on to study classical flute and composition at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. And that was a really fickle decision, but I won't go into that. As part of that, somehow a little bit of it, ethnic, music from around the world crept in, with me being invited to do some Yoruba drumming courses with Gordy Ryan, who was a member of Babatunde Drums of Passion, the Olatunji Drums of Passion. And I did meet and perform with Babatunde Olatunji once, which was, at the time, didn't realize what an epic thing that was, but it was amazing. He sadly passed away, but passed on lots of amazing stuff. I did a year-long community music training with Cardiff Community Music then. And that was just really transformative for my ethos of music in the community, and the power that has, and the soft way which, to treat that, getting rid of illusions of elitism. We're about people a lot of the time. So I went with CMW, I went to Latvia and Belgium, and I lived in Granada for 1.5 years, many years ago, and taught in a Spanish school in English. So I didn't my Spanish. Right, Tracy. I was invited to do run a community choir in Betis in Bridgend. There's different ways of spelling that, I know. And I said, well, I can only do that if I can bring my daughter, because I didn't want to be away from her. I was already working 2 nights. And so Hannah, my daughter, came with me to that. After a year or so of that project, Tracy approached me, I didn't really know her, and said, would you like to come to Ethiopia? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yes, I'd love to come to Ethiopia. And I just couldn't quite believe it. So I went to Ethiopia and it wasn't just go to Ethiopia and show them how it's done, because I think that happens perhaps on a lot of projects. It was to work with an Ethiopian team of professionals. So I was working alongside Tewolde Girme, who's a composer, a music teacher, performer, really renowned in Addis Ababa, on a project with Gemini Trust. And it was to bring, the idea of staff choirs and community choirs, bringing everyone from an organization together to just experience that togetherness and well-being of singing. So that was a 2-week project. Seems like quite a short time, but highly impactful. And we kept in touch for years afterwards. In fact, we still are, so it's just amazing. Okay, this is the first video to show. This shows the power of sharing Welsh music with other cultures. So this is a song that I took across Arlan Amor. I'm still not a Welsh speaker, so apologies with my pronunciation, but this was just incredible. So I hope you're going to enjoy.
So I think long-term relationships means that they become richer.
This is a Welsh song, which is where myself, Tracy and Alison have come from, called Alana Moore, but it's got a really lovely Amharic take on it, as you'll see.
So one of the exciting things about partnership, particularly say with Valley and Vale or with other partnerships in the UK, is that we can actually change the very stereotypical image of Ethiopia of famine and nothing happens, nothing happens but bad things. So we can really promote a very positive image.
So at that point, I'm just going to stop share because the video ends. And that was Carmela, who was the CEO of Gemini Trust, which was a trust for that supported families with twins who were also destitute, very poor. And I kind of wondered whether I should share that, because over the years I've been going through this whole learning about being, a white person and working with people of the global majority. And she's a white woman, but she's done a lot of amazing stuff in Ethiopia, and I don't know what she's doing anymore, because it sort of stopped many years ago, the trust. But the work was good, and what she said was good. And in light of, if anyone's seen the Live Aid, the revival of the Live Aid song "Feed the World," which was with those sorts of things in my mind, I felt it was really important that she said there at the end, it allows actually people to see it's a really good place. It's not full of poor people who can't do anything for themselves, because I think people still believe that. It's ridiculous. And that I love that Live Aid song originally, but I think people need to go through that process of actually maybe it needs to be rewritten. And, you know, does everyone know what I'm referring to? The Christmas song, and they relaunched it last year and everyone sings along, and it's ridiculous, really. Anyway, moving on. Does anyone have any questions as well? Don't worry if not, because I've probably got quite a lot to share. So maybe I'll just keep going. Okay. Okay. So Tawelda, from the Short Strong Partnership, kept in touch with Tawelda and Addy. Addy's on the Zoom now, which is so just gorgeous. And with all my choirs, we kept going through Zoom somehow. And it was kind of exciting doing the Zooms. And our Monday choirs, Addy used to come in and join us. And from Ethiopia, and also Tawelda did. And he was initially on, I don't know where he was, but he was somewhere in working at a refugee camp with, I think, displaced Eritrean people. And it was just funny because he was outdoors in his downtime when he wasn't working with people. And we'd hear this cockerel crowing, and it was like, hey, it's Tawelda and his cockerel. It was great. So, yeah. And that says it all. And because we'd kept that connection, you know, Addy and Tawelda had bothered to connect with us. I think Tracy put in a funding bid, consulted with us all. We all kind of got together on WhatsApp, I think, or tried to create a theme. And we got this lovely theme. I think Tawelda wanted it not to just be positive. He didn't want it to be just like showing a shining light of all, yeah, we're all together and happy. He wanted to show that actually there's a lot of difficulty as well. So it's called Anidanet Hayeli, Unity is Power. So I'm just going to scoot on to this is another thing that Tawelda and me got together on our own a couple of times to share a bit of music. So I'll just show you this before I show you Anidanet Hayeli. Bit self-indulgent, but I loved it.
It's recording now. It's recording. Yes.
And this is our
yes.
initial meetings for Anidanet.
How is it sound?
Can you hear it all?
I mean, actually, the tuning could be the.
Okay, and I think my thing of the tuning was became tuning, working with international partners and people from different parts of the country is interesting because people have different scales. And so sometimes to our Western tuned ears that are tuned to the piano, it's called equal temperament, where scientifically each note is divided equally. It's not actually the most harmonious sound in physics. So other tunings might sound strange to our ears. So what I was saying about the tuning was that could be our difference of tuning could be part of it. So anyway, here's the film that shows bits of our process. This was a sharing of a part way through, I think. And it's just, I've just kind of patched it together really. So I hope you're going to enjoy just watching some of the bits of this. And you'll see Addy, and you'll also see her children in this as well. So her daughter.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
They are sitting together, feeding each other. That is, our culture. I was thinking, like, I'm Ethiopia. I'm really proud of Ethiopia.
And that's choreography of Mesret. Oloye. So I'm going to scoot straight on because I don't want to run out of time for any discussion. But there was a little bit of sadness in that because our lovely Samira passed away over the summer and over the Christmas holidays. So, but it's really lovely watching back because she had a lot of joy within the project. Anyway, moving on to Kenya Link. So this was Tracy based this, I think, just processes such a lot and then had this idea of bringing I somehow had made connections with Helen Damajoy, who is a Maasai leader in Kenya, in Narok, Kenya, and she basically runs two schools quite far away from each other, and a community of Maasai widows who are, I suppose, rescued widows when the husband, because it's a polygamous society, so when the husband dies, then they're sort of on their, so there's a community of widows. So Tracy had this amazing idea to bring our team together with Adanech, this time Adi, who you see on the Zoom, myself, Tracy, Mesret, who you saw some of her Ethiopian, her contemporary choreography on the previous screen. And all of this is why I think, we went into Oasis One World Choir project with sort of care, I suppose, is learning. So we went as a team together to work with the people from the Maasai community as an equal partnership for 2 weeks again. So, and because there's Helen in the middle there, you can see Damajoy is her Maasai name. She's been to Cardiff. I think she'd connected via Tracy on a Wales Africa program, and she stayed with me. She stayed with me overnight, and that's my daughter Hannah. So Helen, I invited my daughter, so of course I wasn't going to say no. So Hannah, when she was 14, came to Kenya as well. So it was Izzy as well. There's Izzy Raby. So that's the team apart from me, and I'll just show you this video. So if you look, I stretched all the videos, but this video is how many? Nearly 4 minutes. You'll hear a lot of Maasai singing. From the start, we were just brought into, everybody just does it, you know, even visitors. I know it was a visitor's ceremony, but we were taken on a little tour of foraging, and I just thought that was amazing. You know, we've got to think about these are the cultures who are looking after the world. They've not caused any harm. We're causing all the harm, and they showed us how they look after the world.
And I feel it.
That was one of my sessions.
This side here, you can see.
So there, I'm thinking, there's always ethical dilemmas. What do you take across? Are you, the culture is so pure. We did share guitar, we shared songs, and I think it's water off a duck's back. People absorb it, but they strongly hold their culture. We're all part of that singing in the background. You can hear the amazing Maasai warriors singing, and they just included us in everything. So we all learned to sing a little bit of Maasai, which we can't do anymore, but it's very physical. You move as you do it. Keep listening, because this is quite funny. That's the tune. And that photograph, we took Welsh daffodils, the Marie Curie ones, and they just put them through their ears. There we are. So I'll just, so I'm going to just stop share a minute. Yeah, are there any questions about any of that before I move on to the next? Is anyone wondering what relevance that has to Oasis One World Choir? Because I'm hoping it's coming across, but if it doesn't, please ask or comment or anything. Don't worry, because I'll keep going, because we... Oh, go on, Oloye, Mujib.
Just we need to highlight more about the importance of what you're doing, of that kind of global collaboration. Like what importance to you, whether it's to you yourself personally or your people around you, or even to Wales itself.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a long time. You know, that was consecutively. We went to Ethiopia first. Tracy's been, you know, much more engaged, haven't you? And you've kept in touch more. And Adi has been over to Wales. The connection is, it's so important. I mean, I think it was, it changed me. I think I was already, you know, a real community and thinking about those things, but to actually experience it, you know, to imagine that, to be sitting and singing as an equal with Maasai warriors and a Maasai, you know, and being right, they encouraging you to sing along and really loving it. It's like, okay, I really am a human being here, and I really can use all my natural resources to make this a team, you know, a really beautiful community of the moment. And so that really it strikes home. So it's like when we come, when we're working with people from different languages, we're trying to get that essence of, yeah, whatever you come from, you know, even if we don't speak the same language, or if we've got 10 different languages in the room, we can create that gorgeous around the campfire feeling of, to the core, we are human. I really think that's, I don't know whether I'm explaining that very well, but it's
I think so. I think yeah, your message is very clear. And obviously you in Cardiff here, you work with a variety of people from multicultural kind of backgrounds, and you're going to put yourself in it to get the experience. Obviously it's going to affect what you're delivering here. So that message is clear. Thanks.
Thank you, Oloye. I appreciate the question. Any others before I quickly move on? Sian, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, as someone who goes to your sessions and has followed this for the last, I don't know how many years, it's such an exciting experience to be in a room with people from different religions, different languages, and everybody loves everybody and they listen to each other. And I think it's such an honor to be there, and you just want to explain to people that it's possible. And I think through music and all, you know, most of our songs now have at least 4 or 5, 6 different languages in them. And it's really, really important. And, you know, it's such a brilliant experience. And as you say, it brings the whole world together. It's a bit of a cliche, but it actually, we experience it every week. So thank you.
Thank you, Sian. Yeah, yeah. And I've just to add to that as well, on, you know, just listening to the Maasai sounds as well. There's a lot of language in the Maasai singing, but there's a lot of just sounds. So we shouldn't shy away from just using sounds, because they keep, you know, it's like the band, we just got our voices. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Cher now. Thank you for the questions and comments. Let's hope this is the right one. And then of course, our international choir members who've sadly had to leave their home countries because of persecution and other things. We have our international reflection as part of that. So this is coming into I'm timing, we're on time actually, so there is room for questions. So this is our first I suppose Zoom, no, it's our second, because our first Zoom video song was Water Bearer, which you saw a little bit of earlier. Did we see that? Sorry, I'm forgetting. Anyway, I think it might be next actually. I'll show you in a bit. One of our projects through Zoom, we just happened to be in the aftermath of the George Floyd murder, which was, you know, we know these things. We know, not everybody knows, but I'm sure people who've come today know that there's a lot of racist violence, especially in America, and it happens here as well in the UK and around the world. But the George Floyd terrible murder, it was, you know, everybody knew about it, and just brought up a lot of fear, anger, and we were really worried about choir members. And actually Mujib Oloye was with us. And we had a Zoom with another creative from Wales, Molara Awen, and she is a person of mixed heritage. And I know she's done a lot of anti-racism work, and she's even done anti-racist work with the police, South Wales Police. So we brought her in to do a Zoom discussion, to facilitate a Zoom discussion with our choir members about moving forward. How do they feel? So I just wonder, Mujib Oloye, would you like to say anything about that experience and maybe what it led to us creatively processing? I'll just stop share a minute.
Thanks, Laura. With that particular experience, it was just good to see the support from the people around us at the time, because it was kind of strange to majority of people, unless you living in America at the time and you knew that was the normancy, where Black people, Black men like myself, basically I can't even walk down the street comfortably in America from what we started learning after George Floyd's murder. And this is not even just from the general public. These are from kind of people with power, people that were supposed to protect the masses, and especially the most vulnerable ones of them. So there was a lot of emotions. There was a lot of talking. We met guided talks by the leaders of the choir, Laura, Tracy, and the team itself, to kind of and around the time, I think we're in COVID period as well, if I'm right. So he just did it. It was just like, yeah, everything was being chucked at the world. Even I say, oh, so yeah, there was a lot of feelings, but we managed to kind of put it together in words and in music, and yeah, to create a song at the time to just kind of say what we were feeling.
Yeah, thank you, Oloye. And I just wanted to add to that as well, that lots of every organization would have tried to, think about the implications of this, and it was a time of learning and anti-racist work. And I was a trustee of the Natural Voice Network at the time, and everyone was just wondering what to do. And I think I left eventually afterwards, but one of the ways they processed it with Mullera's help again was they encouraged people to get into groups and read this amazing book by Layla Saad called Me and White Supremacy. As white people don't realize that we carry inherent racism in us. We I'm probably talking to the converted, but I'm going to reread it because I think it's an easy thing to sort of, just because we've been brought up in racist systems, and the white world taking over the less white world. It's something that needs deep thought, and the way that we've got to keep stopping the flow of racism, basically. And I encourage any white people among us to just read that as a group, and it's a discussion book, really. So I was very grateful to Mullera for what she also added to the Natural Voice Network with that. Okay, I'm going to move on, and you'll hear what you're going to hear with that song as well. On our Zooms, we had Arash, and I think it was Mana, his wife, was coming to our Zooms, and I think she was still in Iran. And her contribution was she created Persian poetry about the uplifting thing of being in an environment of equality, how you can be uplifted and looking for better worlds. And so she recited this poetry on this next film clip. You'll hear it. Let me find it. Have I done that correctly? No, I haven't. Play from start. No, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. So this is why you can tell I'm not used to doing these. Now apologies, because I've put a lot of film clips together. So this shows Christiana, who's on the Zoom, and she was one of our earlier choir members talking, and then it goes into the bit with the next song, which is the Persian poetry, Lifting Up My Mind, which has become a bit of an anthem for us. And both Oloye and Christiana helped us to create the song, both the songs here, actually.
So it's just a combination of different cultures and different languages.
Adi from Ethiopia and her kids, and Mujib. Here it is. Spot the dancers.
شب مانند نگاه از زیباست تو به زیبایی ماهی در شب شب اگر ماه نداشت آسمان تنها بود نوگل آزادی تازه برپا شده است میرسد روزی که چون درختی آزاد ریشه در خاک زده مثل جنگل بشود قطره‌های باران هم صدا با نفس
The video made by Tracy and Amy.
پوشان رفته و به دریا برسد و همه میدانند آبها در همه جا بهترین
I am not free until we are all free.
Feel my burning, feel my pain, feel my burning, feel my pain.
So before we go into, so I just wanted to say that was the song, and there's a lot more to it. I just cut up the little bits to show, and maybe if there's time at the end, I'll share our more recent recording of that song, because it's an equality chant, but it's also an anti-racist chant. You know, and everyone loves it. Everywhere we go, the audiences end up singing. So this next bit shows Mujib starting to be a professional. During lockdown, he was started working with us to facilitate some of the sessions, and then it became apparent how amazing he was. So Tracy set up, I think with your connections as well, Oloye, a project with School of Sanctuary, Adamstown Primary. So this is Dosbath Diamond, and it's just a little bit of the song. I think it's on our YouTube channel.
Oasis One World Choir. It's your time for me. Clap your hands. From darkness to light, to the breeze and the cool, Itura, Oasis, what is but swell, where the waters of the tongue, Itura, Oasis,
So just before the next clip, that was the song was written with using words from another project we did with Welsh poet Mairead Hopwood, who she did a series of workshops with our choir members on Zoom to collect languages, and it was just incredible the way that people used, came out with their language. There's a lot of different languages. I can't remember how many, but and it was all about sanctuary. And we did a lovely project with Mairead Hopwood, and those words were formed into two songs. The one with Mujib and Dosbath Diamond, and another one with Joseph Gnagbo. Mujib, would you like to say anything about that at that point while if I just stop share that project?
Yeah, it just I think that started a ripple effect for me myself personally, just seeing the influence that we are making, and the difference in terms of, even at the time you wouldn't have those kids, especially school at Adamstown, with I think 85% migrant families in their school. Just seeing someone that's a migrant international person coming in there and kind of going on the floor and rolling around with them and everything, that just started a kind of ripple effect for me to see the kind of influence that we could make.
Thank you so much, Oloye, because I think it's so important, because one thing I've not mentioned, and it's something that maybe I should have put in as part of this, was when we went to Kenya, I think there was a report afterwards by Gordon Cummings, who was a university lecturer, and within that report he interviewed everybody, and Helen, who was the leader, Addy will know this as well, I think you know it, sort of gently said that actually the children had more trust in the people of colour than the white people. And that's an ingrained thing, but is for good reason, maybe because that, you know, there's been a lot of massacres of the Maasai in the not too distant past, really. We're talking 100 years ago, and what the ongoing things. And so, and also, you know, I that's one of the reasons why we think it's so important to have people with lived experience who are also amazing as part of our project, because it just, there's so much more, you know, trust there, and knowledge. There's an empathy that I can never have because I've never gone through that displacement journey, no matter what my colour. We don't want colour to come into it, but it is, and so we have to face that. In my opinion. Anyway, thank you, Oloye. Next clip. Oh, and just to say as well, we do think there is potential to go into more schools that are perhaps more white majority schools that can help with anti-racism work in this sort of way. And also, one other thing to point out about that clip, a lot of what we do is, you know, it's well-being, but art, it's expressive art and singing. And so we're not asking for perfection all the time, because, you know, we don't want to squash people into thinking, oh, I'm not right, I'm not good enough. So I just wanted to get that across from my point of view anyway. Okay, we did an amazing collaboration or two with Catherine Finch. And the song I'm going to play now is a song that I learned when I was like 21, with Babatunde Olatunji Gordy Ryan, when he came to Cardiff to do drumming workshops, and it's called Odunde, and it's one of our favourites. But for many years I felt I couldn't lead it because I thought, I'm not from that culture, I can't share that. So what joy to meet people from Yoruba culture who like Christiana, who's on the Zoom now, and Fumi and other people, and yeah, and Oloye, I know you're very close to the Yoruba culture in Nigeria as well. So it's just a total joy. And then look at the dancing that just comes up. Let me just try and play it. Voice.
The rain, it falls upon my face. Away rolls the sea, then onward flows and starts to rain. Away rolls the sea.
It joins the river rushing free.
Away rolls the sea.
Before it meets the briny sea.
Away rolls the sea. So roll the rain down the mountainside.
Below it all.
And roll the streams into oceans wide. Our ships will sail the seven seas. Away roll to sea from shore.
Sorry, just want to stop that there a minute, and I'll just escape. We come back to that. Just wanted to say that's the tagline of this talk, because I called it Teams Across the Ocean. That song is called Dreams Across the Ocean, and it was, just need to say a little bit about it. It was a project that myself and Joseph Gnagbo, who is a choir friend really, who's just last year crowned a Bard of Wales actually. Anyway, he's another story, amazing story. And we were commissioned by the classroom singing organisation Sing Up to create their Sing Up Day song, which is a song that is passed around the world to schools around the world. And I don't know how, there were thousands of schools who took part across the world and learnt that song. And the organisation wanted a demo video so we had the perfect choir for it, our youth project. So they were like, hire a choir and sang that song. And you can even see Oloye's son Lucas on that. And it was just really nice that we could do that. So although it's not an integral Oasis One World Choir project, it's a lovely link via that those children were seen all around the world representing Wales. Oh, and the other thing was Joseph added Kiswahili, French and Welsh to the chorus of that song, which meant that Welsh was sung around the world and those other languages as well. So just thought I'd, how do I go back to show? Right. Now then, what's happened there? Right, sorry, I'm going to faff a minute. So, near the end.
So it's just a combination of different cultures and different.
Find where we were. And I couldn't resist putting this next one in. Ibrahim, who you see dancing.
That is just lovely, isn't it? And that choir you're hearing now, they're called Oasis, and they're actually
Oasis One World Choir.
Coronation, and then you can actually see their performance in a special program called Sing for the King. Rather like that. It's got a ring to it, hasn't it?
So I think that was televised live, and we were with Motsi Mabuse, and it just had another little international link that our choir had visibility around the world, because we then went to sing as part of the coronation party. We sang with Take That on the stage with a big choir of 150 people, I think, of different groups, and it was very exciting. So that was another international link. Before I play this as well, this was the peace song that we wrote during lockdown. And over a year ago, we worked with Lebanese artist Munira Al-Sol as part of Artist Mundi, who we did quite a lot of meetings with her, and she invited us to perform at her opening of her exhibition at Cardiff Museum. And it was a striking, very moving collaboration, and she loved our peace song. And it was just as the terrible, atrocities were kicking off in the, in Palestine, Gaza, and Israel, and also Lebanon were being bombarded. So she was very upset. So our piece at that time as well, we brought in extra languages. We brought in Shalom, the Hebrew for peace, and As-Salam, so that everybody felt that peace, was for them. So we've sung that quite a lot. So I'll just play a little bit. And a little point out, because obviously I've not mentioned June much in this, but June is, one of the founders of the choir as well. I should have mentioned this earlier on, but I don't know, maybe 2-3 years in from the project, Tracy had the idea to bring in June because people love dancing. And so it's been a really strong, bond between the three of us, with the three directors holding everything well. But this is June doing her water bearer movement at the start. If you look at our videos, you see this beautiful movement, and my daughter Hannah animated this, and I just thought it was really lovely, and hope everyone was okay that I put it at the start of our peace song as well, because it just felt very peaceful. And that's Oloye's voice. So I'm just going to stop share. And then there's just a few other slides just saying onwards. Really great that the team's expanding. People are doing training that they can use. Obviously, we're a very small project. Christiana is pretty key in that as well. And at the youth project, we're hoping to expand. Behind the scenes, we have Amy Peckham, who's done a lot of filming and photography, Alison McGann, who does a lot of our posters. Abby created our banner. We've got our volunteers, Judy Christian, Tracy J and Annie, and also our wider community, because we often come together to share concerts with other community choirs I run and the general public. So a big thank you to everybody involved. We do reckon, and all the organisations we collaborate with, it's been a journey that has felt like we've had a lot of friends by people asking us to do things. So thank you for that. So we've got 5 minutes left. So Mujib, would you like to say anything about what you think your hopes and dreams are for? I know you do other things as well, so you could mention those, but specifically with Oasis One World Choir.
Grand. Thanks, Laura. That's kind of eye-opening to look back. Some of you might know this, but some of you might not. Myself, I came to Cardiff 2017. I think in September, not long, joined the choir then. So about, I think the choir started 2 years before that or so. But kind of one of the earliest kind of early members, you would say. And what attracted me there was like the people really, and especially the volunteers as well. You know, just being there, the way they're going down to the level of these young men and women. But also, I think a lot of us, what brought us there as well is that longing. Myself, yeah, I was literally picked up and sent to the UK when I was like 17 years old, and without no funding, no money. I was born in Ajegule, Lagos. So if you have a minute, if you type in Ajegule in Lagos, one of the roughest part of Lagos, a slump, literally on water. So we're living on like £3 or less a week. So there was no way my family could have afforded it. But my mom especially was adamant that I'm not in Nigeria, which in many ways now I can see. But then all those years I didn't speak to them for a very long time, because I thought, yeah, they just put me here to suffer, and I wasn't that kind of person. So I lost a lot of confidence, being homeless, like kind of yeah, not knowing where to turn to, you know, coming from a space where, even though I was born in Ajegule, one thing about Ajegule, again, if you don't know, just to add, the Afrobeat music, which is kind of moving the West African culture, like bringing everything to the scene, is arguably started from there. So we had the Fela's shrine was in Lagos, very close to that's Fela and Nicola Pokuti. But also there's Baba Frayo, Danfo Driver. These were the kind of pioneers for Afrobeat, not just in music, but also in the dance. So I would, in school, I was head boy in my primary school. So I always kind of go in front of the class and talk. I was in the Scout Association. So there was that kind of youth club back in Nigeria, in Ajegule. So it was, I love it. But coming here, being on my own, kind of struggling, asking for help, like where to live, wasn't sure what to do. Constant fear of the home office was one big one for me. Again, addiction in terms of cigarette nicotine, it was a big one for me. But kind of to a point where like I couldn't afford it. I would go pick cigarette on the floor. But shattered my confidence. Like my mom used to say, I used to walk as if I respect the floor. Like now I'm thinking about it. I think that says a lot about me. I call myself a Oloye. That's a knight, or like an emperor, someone that looks after other people, but someone in a commanding place as well in terms of care and policy making, which I'm starting to do a lot more thanks to the platform that's been given to me as well, especially from Oasis and One World Choir. All of that I would have lost. I think everything is kind of the universe and direction. We already know music is a big universal thing that's almost above this realm. So you can bring people together. You can change your way. It can be a thing of well-being. But even more importantly, it's like what we can get when we come together. And that's what we've been seeing, like with what Laura has been saying, with the Adams Down project. It was started from Meredith Ortwood, like you said, but obviously that came to Oasis One World Choir, and we're taking it into Adams Down Primary School. That's already 3 different organizations and groups and of people just benefiting from that collaboration. And obviously the artists as well in their development, like myself, was given that chance to kind of lead it. I promise you, my dance is much better than that. What we see on the videos, but obviously those are kind of a very early kind of stage. But one thing for me is putting myself out there, and also the belief in me. I was just there making music and just going like dancing and things like that. But obviously individuals like Laura with this and Tracy, especially for me. If I got an award today, if you ask me who do you want to share it with, it's gonna be Tracy Pilot, you know. But it's just like, yeah, all of that, they could pick that up and like, okay, there's something here that we could work on. And obviously, like I said, I haven't seen my parents or siblings. They were those parents and siblings for me, you know. So it's a thing of, yeah, the power of that collaboration, you know, Maasai warriors, working with all of those kind of people. But movement, which is a lot what I bring in, also like music, a universal language, you know, it's played a key role in like what we're doing, everything music we make, every event you try to incorporate movement in there, just moving your body in a way. Go on, Laura.
So sorry to interrupt, Mujib, but I'm just realizing we've got 1 minute left, which means there's not going to be any time for questions.
I'll just rush this through then. The future, yeah, 10 years anniversary. We've grown so much. Wales, singing work, so many aspects of the choir now. Singing mamas, Oasis Choir continue to evolve. More than just a choir, we're now kind of like a movement, and that champions inclusion, artistic collaboration, international exchange. We're just going to crack on doing that. And thanks for doing this as well, Tracy Brown, because it gives us the time to kind of reflect, celebrate, and kind of inspires like other people. Some artists might be on this platform now listening to us, and they could get inspired from what we say and what we're doing. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Oloye, as well. So please follow, look at our videos, or follow us on our social medias, and you feel free to ask us questions, email, whatever. Thank you so much, Tracy Brown, and the Wales Worldwide Training Program and Rubicon, because I've got a lovely history with Rubicon as well, over the doing funny workshops with Tracy years ago at Holly's. I think we need to stop because people might have had enough by now, but thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Mujib. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If you would like the recording, let me know and I can send that across to you. No problem at all. Thank you for your time. Have a great rest of your week, and yeah, keep smiling, everyone.